This is Hayden from S8CTV. Today I'm very lucky to be joined here in Manchester for the first time by Sahni. Dev, how are you doing today?
Very good. Nice to meet you, mate.
Nice to meet you too, Dev. So obviously, we're here. We've got a massive card on DAZN. Queensberry's debut showing the DAZN heavy impact. That's what we're looking to be doing. Joyce Hrgovic. How do you sort of see it going?
It's hard to make a prediction. I know that Hrgovic is the favourite, and I guess that's because he was the boogeyman not so long ago, and when he lost to Daniel Dubois, it was a bit of an upset, and he went out on his feet. It was the cuts that did it, but obviously Dubois was brilliant that night as well. And there's probably a feeling that Hrgovic can do better, can perform better than what we've seen him. And there's been, he's been around a while now, and it feels like he's due a breakout moment that hasn't quite come yet. And Joyce, people have made him the underdog, probably because he's lost 3 of his last 4, because he lost to Chisora, lost a couple to Zhang. But he's reunited with his old S&C coach, and they've never lost a fight together. It was a close loss to Dubois Chisora. The knockdown made the difference. It'll be interesting. It will be interesting.
Definitely. And then obviously, co-main event for that fight, we've got Adeleye Tkv versus Adeleye. How do you see that one going? Obviously, I got a wee bit heated there on the stage. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, you never normally see Adeleye Tkv like that. We've seen Adeleye like that around the Fabio Wardley fight. He can switch just like that, and it feels like he's trying to contain it a lot of the time in these situations. But if TKV's up there talking his game, Adelaye's gonna go for him. How do I see the fight? I'm not sure yet, but seeing Adeleye Tkv act out of character, maybe the stage. This is the biggest stage that he's been on so far, biggest fight of his career. Maybe it's too much. I don't know. Or maybe he rises to it. Maybe he appreciates that he wants eyeballs on the fight, and he's talking it up today because he wants everyone to watch his career best win on Saturday. I don't know, but I can't wait to find out. It's a brilliant fight for a brilliant belt. Back
to the Joyce fight. Do you think there's maybe any added pressure with Joe, maybe potential retirement or something like that, if he was to get beat against Hrgovic? The winner maybe go on be in that top mix, loser maybe not. Do you think there's maybe any added pressure for both fighters, really?
I don't know. I mean, it's a long way back for the loser, but we said that for Joyce after he lost to Dubois Chisora, and then he was scheduled to fight Dillian Whyte. Joyce is a big name in the heavyweight division, and it feels like there's always going to be fights for him. And I guess his dream of becoming a world champion would take a hit if he lost to Hrgovic, but I don't think his career would be over. That would be up to him.
Definitely. Obviously, there's been some talks recently that in the summer we could potentially see Daniel Dubois, Dubois Chisora. I want to ask you, Dev, how likely do you think that would be to happen, and do you think it would happen?
I don't know. I don't know how all of this is going to pan out in the heavyweight division. It feels like there's fighters just waiting for almost Usyk to decide who he's going to fight, and everything's going to then fall in line around that. So I guess we'll find out soon.
Definitely. And then obviously, at the end of April, we've got a massive fight. Conor Bryan, Chris Eubank Jr. Massive fight. How do you sort of see that one going?
I see it as a fascinating fight, and it's a case of can Eubank perform well at this weight with the rehydration, etc., and all of that kind of stuff. Because Conor Benn's going to be trying to take his head off from the very first bell. He's going to be an animal in there, and he's going to have this extra strength that he's got now up at middleweight, isn't it? The fight's at middleweight. So can Eubank weather the storm? Has he got the energy to do so? That's what it comes down to for me.
Obviously, as well on DAZN, like we say, Queensberry's now on DAZN. Brilliant 3-fight schedule. I think there's another one to be announced on Monday as well, Frank was saying. Leewood, Cacace, and then we've got Josh Taylor, Essuman up in Glasgow. With Leewood, Cacace, how do you see that one going? Another brilliant card. How do you see that one going?
I think it's a great fight. It's difficult for me to predict these fights when they're all like Queensberry fighters, and I've got to see them in the build-up, and I don't want to upset anyone. But I know that that's a brilliant fight for both guys. Actually, Cacace has suddenly ended up fighting Joe Cordina, who's a good name. He's beaten him. Josh Warrington, good name. He's beaten him. Now Leewood is the other kind of big name around those weights, and he could beat him too. With Leewood, he's just there's never a dull Leewood fight. But he's been out of the ring for a little while now as well. Let's see what Leewood turns up. What's he going to be like against Cacace? I think it's an absolute terror.
Definitely. Then a couple of weeks later, we're up in Glasgow. for the homecoming of Josh Taylor. He'll be taking on Essuman, a brilliant 50-50 fight. Co-main event, Lee McGregor, Nathaniel Collins. A brilliant card as well, filled with Scottish talent. You know, obviously up in Scotland, you know, we have been kind of starved of big shows recently. How good is it to see big fights back up there?
Yeah, it's great. I've not been to Scotland before, other than the press conference, and it was nice, you know. And Josh Taylor clearly loved up there, and it kind of rests on him. It feels like he's, you know, obviously Lee McGregor and Nathaniel Collins. They can become stars as well that night, more so than what they are now with a big performance. But a lot falls on Josh Taylor. He's like the hero of Scottish boxing right now. If he can beat Essuman, then that's a good step. This welterweight division is wide open, I think. Once Boots and Stanionis get out of the way, I think Boots is going to win and then probably move up. That's my view on that. I think there's belts out there that you can get hold of, and Josh Taylor has certainly got the talent to do so. Has he got the size? We'll find out, you know, against Essuman.
Definitely. And then obviously, you know, with Queensberry being on DAZN, you know, do you think that'll maybe make, you know, these fights that maybe weren't getting made initially a wee bit easier to get made now?
Way easier. It's all they're all talking. They're all friends. They're all making fights.
Definitely. And then last one for me, Dave. I want to ask you, you know, is there anything that you want to promote, anything like that? Yeah, floor's yours.
No, just watch the show. Watch the show. Subscribe to DAZN and watch all the shows. It's a great place to be right now. It's got all the big fights basically, so you'd have to subscribe.
Definitely. Dave, thank you very much for your time, mate. Thank you. Nice.